Hello guys, Wahoo here, back in another video. This time around, as you can see the title of the video, we are going to talk about the primordial drakes, because the primordial drakes, or rather the cosmic drake, is a little bit different. We got it recently and they put in a buff for it, so when you complete a dungeon, that was kind of the old one, you can see the new ones they actually put in here, because they teased that in when they came out that they were going to give it a different buff. So now we got the new one, and I just think it doesn't really fit the lore of the dragon itself, so they are going to change it. So I just wanted to come up with a couple ideas for what I think could be done to the dragons. And I feel like if one dragon has it and it's the same category or same group, I think they should all give some sort of buff. And it could be implemented at any time they want to. I know the cosmic dragon is a little bit harder to come by or get a hold of than the other dragons, but I feel like since again they're all primordial drakes, they should all give a buff. And I do like the periodic thing that they got going on, that you don't have to do a dungeon, but now it's just a periodic something you can buff people, and you can buff people anywhere. But I do think, again, that every single dragon we should get one, so we're going to talk about them individually and also end on the cosmic dragon. So the first dragon we are going to talk about is the air dragon, and as you probably saw from the little bits I put on there from the patch notes on the screen there, they're going to give the cosmic dragon and that was kind of where my whole idea came from this one. They're going to give it the jumps, and it was slow fall before, and now I think it's something different. I'm not really sure, I can't remember just on top of my head, but at least it's jumps. And that's why the whole idea came up with all of this, because I didn't really feel like the jumps and slow fall and such fit the cosmic dragon. It much more fits the air dragon, of course. And the air dragon, again, I would keep the jumps in there. I don't know how many exactly I would give in there, and I didn't want to give, shouldn't be like 20 jumps or whatever, but I do think that you periodically buff people around you to give you extra jumps, and it could just be 2 jumps. I think that would be reasonable. Then give movement speed as well. And you know, jumps are not super highly regarded in the community. You know, jumps are, I think I'm sitting on right now, I'm sitting on 57 jumps, and I don't have any jumps on any of my gears, just from dragons and such, you know, going through all of them and such, you get that many jumps. Of course, it's very valuable when you start out, but then again, it's more in the end game and whatever. That's not the point. The point is really the movement speed, and I know people are going to be a little bit more anxious about this, so I do also say it could be energy regen instead, because that is also something, it wouldn't be as impactful. That's the whole point of it, because jumps are not super impactful, at least in the end game. But movement speed is for speed farmers, of course. They would seek out this, of course. But being an air dragon and one of the first, not really the first dragons, but one of the easier dragons to get compared to, of course, to the cosmic dragon, it would not be something you super much, and it shouldn't be a big buff. It shouldn't be like 100 movement speed or something like that. It could be 10, 15, 20, whatever. It's not overpowered, but it's a nice little buff that you can just sit there and you can, you know, sit and spawn. Sorry, not in spawn, but in the hub, of course, or in your club world. And of course, buff people there. Just quickly stand around for 10 seconds or so, and then just buff the people that are there, and then head out of your way. That's at least something I would run around and do, at least, you know, before I start my daily grind. I would just hop into that and jump on every single dragon and do that buff to people. And they would have it again for 6 hours, as I said. Well, I didn't say it, but I put it on the screen in the intro as well. So yeah, that's the air dragon. I feel like jumps, movement speed, or energy regen could be the thing that could be it should give 2 things each dragon, so it's really up to what the dev would feel, but I just feel like jumps and movement speed, energy regen fits just more this dragon because of air, the theme of air. So that was the air dragon. We can now move on to the water one. So yeah, the next one we got is, of course, the water dragon as well, and that's a little bit harder to do some kind of themed in that one, it said. I think the ideas that I have is not super convincing into people, because what I'm thinking of is either max percentage life or flat. It could be both of them as well to make it a little bit more OP, both giving flat HP a buff and also a percentage HP buff as well. And then also HP, of course, regen as well, because water is life and life is water, you know, so that would kind of theme into that one. It's not super crazy like the other ones, of course, and people are always going to compare these and also how the buffs are and such, but I don't really see any other buff coming into this one, and still HP and health regen is not terrible, but it's not, of course, in-game stats that people are looking for compared to we just talked about the air dragon and also the other ones we are going to go through the whole video. They might be a little bit seem more OP, so maybe this one would be the one that people will feel is the least underwhelming, but again, it does have to have some sort of a theme to it. I feel like it does have to tie into the whole theme of being water, and it could also be something to do maybe with physical damage or magic damage, but I don't really feel like that's something to do with water. So yeah, that's at least the idea. It's not super, you know, I wouldn't call it super OP what the air dragon had or whatever else we're gonna get, but I think this is the weakest of the buffs, but it's still not terrible, I feel like, and I feel it should have some sort of buff to it. Is like all the other ones have. I would be really kind of disappointed if, you know, that one just wouldn't get it because people wouldn't do that one. But again, you wouldn't take the dragons. You don't take the dragon for the buffs it gives. It's just I feel like it's such a great idea that it should be implemented in the game. That's what it is. So yeah, that's the water dragon idea I had for this one, the theme for it, the buffs it should give. So now we can move on to the fire one. Alright, so now of course we got the fire dragon as well, and the buff for this one is not super inspired. I think of firepower when I think about the fire dragon. At least that's kind of what I see as a sort of a theme or a buff theme for this dragon right here. So when you of course say firepower, you guys probably already guessed it. Of course it is extra magic damage and extra physical damage as well. And as I said before, in the water one, you could add it, you know, physical damage to the water one or magic damage for some like flow of water. I don't know, that's sort of magic. I don't know. I'm just thinking about the last airbender or what maybe, but mainly I'm talking about like firepower and being like extra. So it's not super inspired. It is two different buffs. I don't know what it would be. Like it would just be extra damage and then something else as well. But first I was thinking about immune to fire damage and stuff because there is a lot of lava and stuff, and of course the Dracolite is of course you know, immune to that, but not the other class as well. It's not a big problem, but if it gave firepower or extra damage, the other one would have to be a little bit less, you know, impactful. I don't know, but the point is it shouldn't be like overpowering. Or maybe it still be overpowered. And some people might say that this is the most overpowered of them all. Maybe also the Cosmic Dragon, which is coming after this one, but I would say firepower would just be a very nice theme for this dragon. So extra physical damage, extra magic damage, maybe a third thing that wouldn't be damage or something like that. But that's at least the ideas that I came up with. So yeah, that's the firepower. It's not super inspired. It might be super OP, but again, the percentage that it would increase would maybe not be a lot. It could be, if it's just like 2%, maybe people like, oh, it's super underwhelming. Sure, it doesn't matter. But again, you just have to stand around. You just, you know, stand there, or, you know, most people have these, at least these ones, right? Maybe not a lot of people have, of course, the cosmic one, but that doesn't really change the buff to it. But I just feel like this would fit the dragon the most. Maybe you guys have some better ideas. Of course, you can always put them in the comments. I would love to read if you guys have awesome ideas for what the themes could be to these ones, also to the cosmic ones, which we are going to switch up to now because I pretty much explained what the fire one should do, firepower, right? So let's head into the cosmic one. And lastly, of course, we got the Cosmic Dragon, and I feel like still the theme for this one should do something with light, so it should increase the light stat again. Like I think it should be something like that, and then it should be just with the other ones. I don't know what the other things should really be, so I put in mining speed, and it might sound kind of weird to put in mining speed. But the thing is, of course, it kind of ties into kind of geode, you know, geode caves and stuff like that. Of course, that mining speed would also have to work for that one. And again, all the buffs are 6 hours, so you could buff yourself or get buffed in somebody and then go down there, and then you would be mining a little bit faster. Again, it shouldn't be something crazy, but of course it would be main thing the light, because that's just what everybody wants. And then also why I think they're going away from the light, because it is kind of OP, the buff that you actually get from it. And I would just, you know, I would just see that the light stack coming back, because it just makes a lot more sense to, of course, the Cosmic Dragon. I don't really know why they put in, like, again, jumps and stuff like that. I think the idea of buffs from these ones making them even more fun, but not super impactful, but just kind of fun in that sense that, hey, there's actually some buffs you can give to people. You can actually help other people. Just stand in, you know, the hub and jump on your different dragons and for 10 seconds or whatever. Sure, you have to spend what is it? I'm bad with math there, but 40 seconds to get all 4 dragons done if it's 10 seconds, right, for switching them all up. But I don't mind spending a minute. That's just, of course, that's only me, and I don't feel like it should be mandatory to anybody. And maybe it'll become that and just be an annoying thing that people are asking for buffs. That's also why I'm saying it shouldn't be super OP, but it should be something that would be kind of nice to give people. Well, you can also jump into Geode, for example, or U9, U10, whatever. Or if you get invited to Leviathan, jump on your dragon, buff people up, right? Buff people with all the buffs and be a nice person and share the buffs. And again, if you are 4 different people that have 4 different dragons, you can do it in 10 seconds. Don't have to be just one person. So that's just my idea. Again, I don't know what the theme is. I don't have it on the PTS server, so I don't know how long it takes before you get the buff. I would not be standing around for more for 10 seconds per dragon, I would say. I think 20 seconds is a little bit too high, maybe 15, but still, again, if you really want to buff people, you shouldn't be standing around forever, because then it just becomes annoying. What if we were like 5 minutes between buffs? That would just be insane. I'll just be crazy, but kind of fun still in a way, I guess. But I bet you there will be a bunch of people that actually makes a mod for this. I hope the people make some mods so it actually activates when you're on the dragon, and you can kind of see a bar when it actually is gonna buff people from that, and then resets if you kind of, you know, go off the dragon, it will disappear and then go back on. There's some really nice mod makers out there. I know that wouldn't help consoles and stuff like that, but you can just count it out if it's 10 seconds if that's what you want. But anyways, that was my 4 ideas. I hope the devs see this one. If you know, made it all the way to this one, make sure you share it in places if you feel like it was a good, you know, good ideas, or put them down here, or put your own ideas on Reddit or on the Discord, whatever you feel like you want to do. So all I'm just kind of asking of you guys a little bit is that we, you know, get the right buffs to the right dragons that make sense, instead of just giving it to the Cosmic Dragon, which doesn't really make sense of jumps. I could see movement speed. Because you want to go fast in Geode, I guess, but jumps doesn't really makes really much sense to me. But I do like that they changed it to the periodically thing. That's really, really cool. But anyways, I hope you guys enjoyed this video. If you did, make sure you like and all that stuff. Helped me out very much, and also get shared to people. So that's why we get the message out there, so they can see we kind of care about this stuff. So anyways, again, thank you so much for watching, and I'll see you in the next one. Bye!